There's been a lot more controversy than we would like.
The Jackson interview. How did it happen?
You know, the Michael Jackson interview is an interview that we have been working on for more than a year. Last February, I was out at Neverland. We had been working on it for some months at that time. I went out with my crews, my producer, associate producer, sat down with Michael, just the two of us in a room, left everybody outside, and talked for about a half an hour.
Months ago.
Oh, this is last February, almost a year ago. And Michael said, fine, I'm going to trust you. And he told me how his trust had been betrayed by other journalists. And I just said, look, you know me, you know my work. If you want to do this, fine. If not, I understand. And he said, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to go upstairs and get ready for the interview. His guys told me that that could take an hour and a half to 2 hours because he'd have to get made up, and he'd have to get his clothes. I mean, when I talked to him, he still had on, well, he had on a pajama top. He had pants on, but he had a pajama top on.
And this is the day of the interview or months before the interview?
This is the date of February. We're going to do this interview that day.
I see.
So I say to my guys, bring in the camera gear, set it up, we'll do this interview. He'll be down in an hour or so. And as I was told later, when he was just about made up and dressed, someone came in with a phone and said, you've got a call from Marlon Brando in London. Brando told him that the deposition, which had been sealed in 1992 from the first case when he was accused of child molestation,
and
settled out of court so that it would all be kept secret. Brando told him that that deposition had been released. It was on the internet, and it would be all over the world by tomorrow, and it would be in the tabloids in the United States the next day. Michael Jackson freaked out. We never saw him again. He didn't say, I'm not going to do the interview. He just disappeared.
Someone came and told you?
We sat there for hours waiting, and it's his people. Mark Garagos had just started as the head of his legal team at that time.
This was before the charges were brought.
Yes.
Way before.
In fact, the kid who was now charging him and his mother were there that day.
Really?
And we sat in the kitchen having coffee and donuts and sodas, and his mother and the kid said they were willing to go on television to say what a great person Michael Jackson was.
Right there. And Brando was wrong, right?
Well, no, because the deposition...
Was it released?
It was released, and it was all over the tabloids the next day.
Oh, was
it?
We'll be right back with more. This is a fascinating story with Ed Bradley. Don't go away. We're back with Ed Bradley. All right, then what happened? All right, you lose that time. And then
we sat there, and he just never showed up. By that night, I went back to Los Angeles. We went back out the next day and talked to them, and it just never happened. So it never went away completely. It was always there. And then when it surfaced again after these charges were made, he decided that he wanted to talk to me. So
he contacted you?
We were in contact with Mark Garagos, who was his lawyer. And they said, okay, we didn't talk to Michael directly. They said, fine, come out on Wednesday. This is the day before Christmas. So I had my Christmas vacation plans, and they just went out the window. And I flew to Los Angeles and went to the hotel where we were supposed to interview him. And they said, this is going to happen at 3 o'clock. And then they said 4. Then they said 5, then they said 6, and at 7 they said, well, it'll happen tomorrow. So the next day was Christmas. Here we go again. It was Christmas Day. So Christmas Day we went out and set up again, and then again it was a long wait through the day, and late in the afternoon, early evening, Michael came into the room. He was made up and dressed for the interview, and he was he's very soft-spoken. And he is on the surface very considerate of everyone else in the room. Makes eye contact, says hello to members of the crew, waves at everybody, and sits down.
Personable.
Yeah. But then he's also checking to see how he looks in the monitor.
Until last February, when you met the mother and the kid, what did you think when you heard it was that mother and that kid?
I was stunned. Because they were there to tell me that day what a great person he was.
Were you going to put him on camera?
We hadn't gone that far. I mean,
Might you have?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I don't know. The kid was in the documentary that the BBC, not the BBC, but the English program did. I forget his name now.
But you were shocked that
Martin Bashir.
The kid, that was the kid.
I was shocked that was the kid because both the child and his mother were praising Michael and were sitting there in his kitchen eating and saying what a great person he was.